If you're watching this morning and haven't seen it yet, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep watching. Because what happened on live TV today was one of the most striking moments seen in a congressional chamber in Washington in the last decade. No one thought that moment would come so quickly. The Senate Intelligence Committee room had hosted similar scenes dozens of times before. Directors would come in, take the oath. Senators would ask questions, receive bureaucratic answers. The cameras would roll, and everyone would leave dissatisfied. That's how the system worked. Everyone knew it. Everyone accepted it. But that morning, Adam Schiff also entered the room. And the file in front of Schiff was no ordinary file. Underestimating Adam Schiff has been one of Washington's most costly mistakes. This Democratic senator representing California appears calm, measured, and academic. His voice rarely rises. His facial expressions rarely change. His questions are short, his sentences well-formed. But beneath that calm lies decades of experience as a federal prosecutor. Schiff spent the early part of his career bringing RICO cases against organized crime syndicates. The most important thing he learned in those cases was this: major crimes don't collapse because of major mistakes. Major crimes collapse because of minor inconsistencies, a single word spoken at the wrong time, words spoken when someone didn't think they were being recorded. Schiff was trained to catch those small things, and today what he had caught was not small. The hearing began at 10:05 a.m. Kash Patel was prepared, as always. He had 3 lawyers with him, pre-approved answers, a bureaucratic shield of language designed for every question. The man sitting in the FBI director's chair looked relaxed. Maybe today would be calm too. Maybe today everything would stay routine. The first 2 hours seemed to confirm that thought. Budget questions got budget answers. Operational priorities got operational answers. Every corner was covered. Every opening was closed. At 12:11, Schiff took the floor. He hadn't opened the file on his desk yet. He just looked at Patel. "Director," said Schiff. His voice was calm and measured, as always. "I'd like to ask you a few technical questions first." Patel was ready. Technical questions were safe waters. They always were. "Does the FBI have any protocol regarding the reading of classified documents in a live broadcast setting?" Patel answered, quickly, clearly. "Classified materials are protected under legal regulations and institutional protocols. The unauthorized disclosure of these materials constitutes a clear violation of federal law." "A clear violation of federal law," Schiff repeated. "So how is the reading of these materials in congressional sessions evaluated?" Patel paused for a second. "Members of Congress have constitutional immunity for speech and debate. However, the handling of classified materials is subject to different protocols." "Different protocols," Schiff nodded. "So if a member of Congress reads a classified document in this chamber, that could have extremely serious legal and institutional consequences. It could lead to serious consequences." Schiff wrote something down. A long, silent moment passed, and then he opened the file. When the file was placed on the table, Patel's eyes fell on it. And on Patel's face, beneath that bureaucratic mask, the first crack appeared. His eyes widened for a second. His jaw tightened slightly. His hands searched for each other on the table. Schiff saw all of this. Schiff always sees. "Director," he said. His voice was still completely calm. "I'm going to read you something." Patel's lawyer immediately stood up. "Senator, if this document is classified, sit down." Schiff's voice hadn't changed, but something inside him had hardened. "Congress has constitutional oversight authority, and this document falls within the scope of materials that must be shared with this committee." The lawyer sat down. The room held its breath. Schiff began reading, quote, "FBI Office of the Director. Internal Review Report. Date, December 14th, 2024. Subject, reclassification of counterintelligence materials related to the Epstein investigation." The room fell silent. Schiff continued. "This report recommends that a portion of the counterintelligence materials collected in the Epstein investigation be removed from their current classification level and designated as outside active investigation. These materials include witness statements, financial transaction records, and location data pertaining to high-profile individuals. He paused. The room was silent for another second. The rationale for the reclassification proposal is stated as follows. Maintaining these materials at their current classification level presents an institutionally unsustainable risk profile. Signed, Kash Patel, FBI Director. Schiff placed the document on the table and looked at Patel. Director, said Schiff, are you familiar with this document? Patel didn't know what to say, and then, Senator, the context of this document. Are you familiar with the document? Yes or no? These types of internal assessment reports, your signature is on this document. Yes or no? Patel swallowed. I may have signed certain reports, but did you sign this document? Silence. Director, verifying the signature is an expert. Is this your signature? Patel looked at his lawyer. The lawyer closed his eyes. This signature appears to be mine. The room erupted. Schiff waited for the outburst to subside. The committee chair restored order. Then Schiff continued. His voice hadn't changed. Director, this document uses the phrase corporate unsustainable risk profile. Can you explain that phrase? Patel tried to respond. That phrase is standard risk assessment terminology and standard terminology. Schiff shook his head. So the FBI director's justification for reclassifying the confidential materials in the Epstein investigation was corporate risk. That's a very simplistic interpretation. Are you saying corporate risk or personal risk? Patel paused. That's a very broad question. It's a very simple question, Director. Did the risk mentioned in this document pertain to the FBI or to the individuals named in these materials? Silence. Who was being protected by this reclassification? Silence. The FBI or someone else? Schiff pulled out a second document. Every big moment comes like this. One document isn't enough. The second builds on the first. The third completes the second, and each document explains why the previous one matters. Director, I'm going to read you a different document now. This one is dated December 26th, 2024, exactly 12 days after the reclassification decision. Source, FBI Office of Legal Counsel. Schiff began reading. Quote, some of the materials reclassified pursuant to Director Patel's December 14th directive conflict with the chain of evidence protected under active federal investigations. It is assessed that the reclassification change, made without evaluating the legal consequences of this conflict, could jeopardize ongoing cases. Signature, FBI Chief Legal Counsel. Schiff set down the document. Director, your own legal counsel writes that this reclassification could jeopardize active cases. Did you see this warning? Patel did not respond. Director, certain internal communications, did you see this warning? Various communications with the Office of Legal Counsel. Yes or no? Silence. You saw it. Patel swallowed. I may have been aware of some communications. I may have been aware, Schiff repeated. So you saw it. You saw the warning, and yet you did not reverse the reclassification decision. Patel did not respond. As someone who knew it jeopardized active cases, you persisted with this decision. At this point, it's important to understand Schiff's strategy. All the interrogation styles we'd seen up to that point were different. Ted Lieu had set systematic traps like a military prosecutor. Booker had humanized him. Kennedy had used visual evidence to create shock. Durbin had used silence as a weapon. Schiff, however, was weaving layer upon layer. Each document built upon the previous one. Each answer opened the door to a new question. And each door opened led to a darker room. Patel shrank a little more with each new document, not physically, but the man beneath that corporate armor, that director's mask, became a little more visible with each document. The third document was the heaviest. When Schiff pulled it from the file, this time he held it up to the cameras. He held it up for a long time, for everyone to see. Director, this document is dated January 3rd, 2025. Source, FBI Counterintelligence Unit. Subject, update on individuals covered by reclassified materials. Patel's hands clenched on the desk. Schiff began to read. Quote, Among the materials reclassified per Director Patel's instructions are statements concerning high-profile individuals whose names appear in 23 separate counterintelligence files. Some of these individuals are potential targets of ongoing federal investigations. It is assessed that the reclassification decision has effectively suspended these investigations. Schiff put down the document. 23 counterintelligence files, Director. And investigations into the individuals in these files have been effectively suspended by your decision. Patel tried to respond. This assessment is from an operational perspective, and who are these individuals? Patel paused. Who are these high-profile individuals mentioned in the 23 files? This information is classified. With this committee, who are they? Classified. Director. Schiff leaned forward. His voice dropped, but the microphone picked up every word. Your own counterintelligence unit writes that your decision protects these individuals, and you here, under oath, cannot tell us who these individuals are. He paused. Is this transparency? No response. Is this accountability? No response. Is this American justice? As Schiff made his final move, the room fell completely silent. Director, I read a classified document to you live on air this morning. I did this intentionally because these documents are materials that should have been shared with this committee, and they were not. Patel looked at Schiff. These documents are now in the congressional record. Everyone watching the live broadcast this morning heard them. And these documents show that the FBI director reclassified classified materials from the Epstein investigation, despite his own legal counsel's warning. He effectively suspended investigations into individuals in 23 counterintelligence files, and he hid all of this from Congress. Schiff stood up. Director, these documents are here now, on the record, and the American people heard it this morning. He paused. The question is, what happens next? Those reading this need to share this question with others, because the answer to this question depends on how many people are aware of it. Silence is also a choice, but whose interest does that choice serve? When the hearing ended, Patel's directorial armor was shattered. The reclassification document was on the record. The legal counsel's warning was on the record. The 23 files were on the record, and Patel's failure to answer all these documents said far more than his answers ever could. Over 250 victims, files hidden for years. And now, a confidential document read live on air. Every confidentiality protocol's answer spawned the next question. Every cannot share with the public statement brought the next document to light, and every corporate risk justification revealed who was actually being protected. When Adam Schiff opened that file today, he didn't just read a document to Patel. He showed him what live broadcast meant. Millions had heard it, and the word secret had lost its meaning in that moment. Schiff opened the file. Patel was shocked, and millions heard it. Secret was no longer secret. If you don't want to miss anything happening in Washington, stay tuned. There are more details to this story, and each detail is heavier than the last. See you in the new videos.